Welcome to Momentum Monday. I'm Dana Middleton, your host. Today we're talking about inspiration versus showing up every day and getting it done. The topic of this actual Momentum Monday is when creative inspiration is not enough. And the hint here is that it's never enough. It's the beginning. And when you have that great inspiration, it's a wonderful, thrilling, exciting moment. But inspiration does not get you to the finish line. And so many of my clients and so many people in the community, I've heard talk about this idea, but I have a hard time showing up, or I don't get finished, or, I'll sabotage myself, all the things we do, which means, hey, you're an artist, because we all do that. But one thing I wanted to clarify is, we have this story of the tortoise and the hare, right? And I see the tortoise and the hare as being the two tools you need to be an artist. As a writer, I really need these. The hare is your inspiration, right? It's that receiving, it's that sprint out of the starting gate because you're so excited. But the hare doesn't get you all the way. And that's when you need your tortoise. You need to kind of say, come on, let's do this, which is that daily showing up, which can be so challenging. But it's completely essential. So I say you need the tortoise and the hare, and see how that feels to you. The idea of, yeah, you need two different energies to see a project through. So for you, what is an important creative project that you're working on? It could be as a writer, you want to finish a book or a screenplay or something like that. As an actor, it can be so many things, like you have to prepare for auditions or for bookings or for plays and roles. Preparation, I think, is a big part of that for actors, because if you're not prepared, you cannot show up in your kind of present, talented, glorious self. Preparation gives you permission to throw it all away and just be. So I know, I've talked to many actors. I work with lots of actors, who say, I didn't spend enough time. And so I blew that audition that was really important to me. That's using your tortoise as well. Like, I'm just going to show up and do this work consistently so that I'm ready when that opportunity lands. If you can relate to that, let me know, because I think it's, as artists, we have different, things, we have different ways we have to do it. We have different kinds of activities or different kinds of, either projects, auditions, whatever it is. But it rings the same, I think, for everyone. This idea that, yeah, I'm excited about this, and then I've got to do the work. And that is something that for all of us is challenging sometimes. So as a writer, for instance, what's important to me is that I set up a time or a word count every day. When I don't write every day, meaning if I'm not working on a project, I may not write, for a certain amount of time. But when I'm working on a project, I have to show up for a certain amount of time, hopefully, 6 days a week, to get where I want to go. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. A book doesn't write itself. I wish it did, because sometimes you just really wish that it would, because it can be so challenging. But it's that kind of, I'm worth it. My project is worth it, which comes to your important why. That inspiration has to be strong. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be an actor, a writer, a director, a singer, a painter? Why? Right. And when you come down to a project, like, what is that inspiration for that project? Is it strong enough to see you through? And, sometimes we start things and it isn't strong enough. So that's something you really want to pay attention to. Is it strong enough? Do you have that specific time to work? Um, are you self-sabotaging? Because that will happen too. All kinds of distractions. We'll do anything to not get to it. And one of the last things I like to say as an artist, be selfish. Be selfish enough to be an artist, because it takes some selfishness. And we have some real, interesting programming around being selfish. I know, you're not supposed to be selfish no matter what, but as an artist, it's absolutely required. That doesn't mean you have to be an asshole to everybody around you and never be, supportive or there for them. But to be an artist, it takes a certain amount of selfishness. And if you're not being selfish enough, you might be frustrated because you don't feel like you're getting enough done and you have too many distractions. So something to look at there. We're going to tap because that's what we do here. If you haven't tapped before, tapping or EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, is when we tap on meridian points on our body. I will lead you through it to break up old stuck energy. That's all it is. And then we'll tap in things that feel good. It's like using acupuncture. When you stick a needle into a meridian point, it breaks up energy. We're doing the same thing here, but you get to do it on your own. And it's easy to do. And it's life-changing to do. It certainly has changed my life. So let's try some tapping today. I thought we could do some tapping just about the idea of consistency. It's like, why aren't I always consistent? What's going on inside? And when we speak the ugly about what's happening and tapping it, don't worry, you're not affirming it or like saying this is the way it is. You're really acknowledging it and airing it out so it doesn't have to stick so much, so that you can make a little space, create some space to actually get to it. Because that's what I'm here to support, is you getting to your work, getting it out in the world. Though that's important. That's an important thing for you to be able to do, for me to be able to do. I need this as much as you guys do. I just started a new book and it's like, I am committed to my daily writing. And I know that the more I do it, the more I get into a momentum of it and the easier it gets. But there's always resistance because we are we're artists, we're writers. And when you show up for something important, you'll have resistance. It's just part of the game. All right. So let's start today. We're going to start on the karate chop point. I'll lead you around. Just tap along with me. And we're going to start by saying, though, what feels kind of like the ugly, but we accept ourselves anyway. This is what we call the setup statement. So just tap right here with me. Repeat after me. If you yawn, if you have a big intake of air, that means that you're doing it right. That means you're moving energy. So just go along with whatever happens and repeat after me. Even though I wish I could be more consistent in my work, but I'm not. I love and accept myself, and I'm glad I'm tapping about this. Even though I really mean to show up every day, but I easily get distracted. What if I'm actually worthy of showing up for now? Even though I have always had a problem with consistency, I am willing to change. Okay, so we're going to use these fingers here. Go to the eyebrow point. You can tap on one side of the face or both sides and repeat after me. I would love to be consistent in my work. Go to the outside of the eye, but I'm just not always. Under the eye. I have a hard time getting to it some days. Under the nose. I feel like I am easily distracted. On the chin. There's so many things I need to do in my life. Of course, I'm distracted. And think of all those things you have to do, right? There are lots of things. Under the collarbone. It seems like somebody always needs something from me. Middle of the chest. So what am I supposed to do? Not be there? Under the arm. But as I continue to be there for everybody else, I'm not there for me enough. Top of the head. I'm not there for my art enough. Eyebrow point. Even though my art is very important to me, obviously other things are too. Outside the eye. I have lots of excuses and sabotages that keep me away from my work. Under the eye, which sometimes makes me feel doubt, like should I even be doing this? Under the nose. Should I be doing this if it's so hard to get to? On the chin. How dare I call myself an artist when I have such a hard time getting to it? Take a breath. Under the collarbone. It's so frustrating, and it just fills me with feeling unworthy, frankly. Middle of the chest. But what if I am worthy? Under the arm. What if I'm worthy of showing up for? I just haven't cracked that yet. Top of the head. I've let my resistance get the best of me. Eyebrow point. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what happens to all artists. Outside the eye. But I actually want to be an artist who gets things done. Under the eye. So what do I have to do to show up more consistently? Under the nose. What do I have to let go of? Who do I have to let go of? On the chin. To be a little more selfish and show up for me. Under the collarbone. What if I'm actually really worth showing up for, and so is my art? Middle of the chest. It's a lot, but what happens if I show up consistently for me? Under the arm. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if I don't want to do it. Top of the head. What if it's time to really choose me? Okay, take a breath, take a yawn. How did that feel, guys? So much of this really isn't about the art. It's just about, am I worth showing up for? Is it that I have something worthwhile to say? And of course you have something worthwhile to say. We're just completely talked out of it. And we can be the ones talking us out of it. If you haven't read Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, I recommend it because it just talks about how we all resist getting to it. And that is our number one job, other than receiving the inspiration. Our number one job as an artist is to push through gently that resistance and get to the work in a consistent manner. It's, when I finally figured this out, it changed everything for me. I was a writer who actually finished books and got books published. It did not happen before, when I just kind of skated on inspiration that ran out. And that would really fill me with so much doubt about doing it in the first place. Oh yeah, lots of yawning, get it? Yep, it happens, right? We all have it. So maybe today, maybe this week, you could think about, are you worth, setting up a consistent time? And it doesn't have to be a long, consistent time, guys. This can be a short, it can be a short time. It's the consistency more than the duration that counts. It's like, well, I'll just work the whole day on Saturday. And you know what? That may be your schedule and that may be the way it works. But literally, if you can do, 10 minutes a day, that is so important, excuse me, because it is building momentum, and momentum builds getting it done. Momentum builds ease. Momentum is how you get there, but you build momentum by one single act every day, which is this consistent act of showing up to what is important to you. So today, let's just remember, what's important to you. Why are you doing this? Why have you chosen this life that is not always so easy or so straightforward? There's a real reason. You have a real why here. And that why is why it's important for you to show up consistently. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys for being here today. If you're watching the replay, I want to hear from you. Okay, let's have a good, consistent week and just see how it goes. And the last thing is, when you're choosing to be consistent, maybe make you're going to show up a certain time to do a little work every day. And if you don't, write down why, tap why. I didn't show up because, this is what the monster we're vanquishing is, all this resistance, all this sabotage. It's not, you didn't do anything wrong if you didn't get to it, but acknowledge why, because that will help you to get to it tomorrow. All right, great guys. Have a lovely week. Thanks for showing up today. Bye.